Back interviewing Terry Jones at my house for English um, on December 26th. What do you remember about superstitions when you were growing up?
Well, my mom was real superstitious. She was always saying that us kids were crazy for walking under ladders or playing with the neighbor's black cat. And the biggest thing, though, was fate. That was really her truest belief. At first, I kept on wondering what fate was. Then one day at school I looked it up, and to this day I remember what it said. Fate. It was the power that is supposed to be settled ahead of time when things will happen. Mom would always say that the reason things happened was fate. One of my older sisters was planning to marry a guy named Thomas, and he had an accident and died. A while later she met a man from out of state. They fell in love after dating, and for quite a while then they got married. Mom insisted that it was fate, that it was meant to be.
What can you tell me about remedies?
Oh, Mom really knew a lot about remedies. Let's see. For warts, there was a lot. Like apply castor oil or milkweed every day, steal a dishcloth and rub it on the wart, and then bury it, or rub the wart with a chicken bone. To cure a toothache, you pound a nail into an oak tree. For a headache, you boil vinegar, and then you inhale the fumes. Oh, and to get rid of the hiccups, you're supposed to think of the last bridge you covered. One time, my youngest sister, Ann, had a horrible cold. She had the chills and a sore throat and a stomach ache and a cough, and she just had everything. Well, none of Ma's remedies worked, so she called on Ida May. She had a bunch of different things to try, but none of them was working either. I remember Mom called a whole list of her friends to see if they had anything that might help. Each of them had something different to say, like drink whiskey or go to bed or take a spoonful of honey. Dad thought she was so funny.
Are there any sayings you remember about food?
Oh yeah, let me see. Carrots make your eyes stronger, and green apples give you a stomach ache. A loaf of bread should never be turned upside down after the first slice has been cut from it. Also, brown eggs are richer than white eggs, and if you're given a gift of food, the container should not be returned empty. One time, it was so funny, my mom, she was upset with our best friend, Hildy, because all she had been laying were white eggs. Well, she was going out to the coop, and when she stepped inside, Hildy was chasing our biggest rooster, Robert, around in circles all around the coop. My mom just about wet her pants. It surprised her so much. Anyway, it turned out that Robert had been stealing all of the brown eggs that Hildy laid, and he was hiding them. Oh yeah, another thing about the food, my mom would never let us eat our first pancake with syrup on it. We always had to eat the first one plain.
Can you tell me anything about moon lore?
Well, maybe a little bit, but I don't think my mom was into that a whole lot. When you see a new moon, you're supposed to look over your left shoulder and make a wish. Let's see, what else? Oh, Mom always made us kids pull down the shades and close our curtains before we went to bed, because she said that if the full moon shines on your face while you're asleep, you'll go crazy. Oh, and if a baby is born during a full moon, it'll be strong.
You mentioned your mother believing in fate. Are there any particular times you remember?
Well, 5 minutes pass between the time that a person takes his last breath and when his soul leaves his body. My mom really believed in that one. There was a story that she used to tell us kids. How did that go? Oh, it's something about a friend of my mom's. A friend of my mother's was at the hospital visiting a friend that was real sick. She had one of those heart machines hooked up on her. It was getting irregular, and the visiting woman began contemplating about calling the nurse. Just as she decided to, the line on the screen went perfectly straight, and there was a constant beep. About 5 minutes later, the visiting woman saw an angel come down through the ceiling. The angel put her left hand on the dead woman's forehead and her right hand behind the woman's neck. Then she lifted the soul of the woman's body and took it up with her and through the ceiling.
Can you tell me about any superstitions about the household?
Oh yeah. When you get up from a rocking chair, you're never supposed to leave it rocking. And I don't know what will happen if you leave it, but I do know that it'll be something bad. Also, if a bird flies in the house, it's bad luck. If you open an umbrella in the house, there'll be a death in the family. And if a rooster crows while you're going to bed, he'll wake up with a wet head. Mom always said we were lucky because when she was young, her mom thought it was unlucky to swim between July 3rd and August 11th. Also, if we ever sat down to eat with 13 people at the table, my mother would set an extra place.
What about the human body? Can you tell me any things about it?
Oh yes, I can remember my mom talking about a few things about the body, like white specks on your fingernails mean you have a good fortune, or if you pull one gray hair, 10 more will grow in its place, or if you have warm hands, you have a cold heart. If you have cold hands, you have a loving spirit. And if you only have 7 letters in your first or last name, you'll always be lucky. One saying actually worked, though. It is to be chanted when you want to see the one you love. First, you put your shoes on the floor and shape them in right angles. The toe of the right shoe should touch the instep of the left. Then you say, "When I my true love want to see, I shape my shoes into a T." One night I actually tried this, and in about a half hour later, my boyfriend Arthur showed up at the door. He wanted to surprise me, but I was sort of subconsciously expecting him.
What kinds of things can you tell me about weddings?
Well, it's supposed to be unlucky to break a bow or a ribbon at a shower. The groom can't see the bride in her dress before the wedding. And the bride should wear something old and something new and something borrowed and something blue. And at the wedding, if you're the one that catches the bouquet or the garter, you're supposed to be the next one to be married. If you take home a piece of wedding cake and sleep with it under your pillow, you'll dream of the man you'll marry.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Well, I don't believe everything I hear, but when so many people believe in the same thing, I definitely think twice.
You put my legs in line with that part. Don't you know the line so we can cover the line? Is it covered up yet?
Microphone part's right there, Steve.
Is it?
Covered up.
It's probably done by now.
I do this. What?
You're a sick cow.
What I do?
So we gotta put that on the cupboard. Come over without any coat? No, Peter didn't come. Carrots are supposed to make your eyes stronger. You probably knew that.
Yeah. I don't think it works though. I don't think it works though.
Everyone knows it does. Brown eggs. Well, I'll interview my sister to give it to you.
Okay.
I know there's more things for warts, but I can't think of them. Something about a bone, rubbing a bone on it or something, but I don't know if it's a chicken bone or what kind of bone. I'm sorry, Jennifer, I'm just not very good at stuff like this.
It's okay. Maybe you can get more from your sisters.
Yeah, I'll call Marge and Lois, they're both pretty good talkers, and they probably could come up with something.
Okay. So then I could like come back Monday probably.
Maybe I can give it to you Sunday, you're going to Michelle's
Oh, yeah.
party. I'll try and get it something before then.
Okay. And I can just have my mom like fake menu on the tape or something.
You have to let them hear this?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, yeah, you'll have to.
Yeah.
Or have Jan do it or something. Because everybody that calls here doesn't know whether they've got me or Jan. We think our voices are so much alike. Knocking on wood. You should have told me these things. Knock on wood when you, like you think something's something has happened and to someone else and you knock on wood, I hope it doesn't happen to me. Knock your head. I guess that's it.
Okay.